Aloha, this is Tara, the metabolic therapist. Welcome to the Trust Your Gut Club, where we meet on Tuesdays at noon Hawaii time to discuss all things digestive wellness. We also call this yoga for the organs or digestive yoga. So please, by all means, let me know that you're here, send a message. Um, and let me know what kind of questions you have, and do my best. Let's keep it private, and happy to stimulate some discussions so that there's a feeling of us being together, especially during these wonky times. So welcome. Please, by all means, write some questions in there. Today, what I'd love to talk about is the seasons of a woman's cycle. Oh, excuse me. So what I mean when I say that is that because of our, if you're a woman and you are still menstruating, we have each of our, like our roughly 28-day cycle. And that can change for each of us at different times of our lives, different seasons. What is important, especially if you're considering or if you've been practicing a low carb lifestyle or any sort of protocol specific to your health and wellness. There's 4 phases to our monthly cycle. So we have our inner spring, inner autumn, inner winter, and inner summer. So like right now, with the full moon, I am bleeding with the full moon. I feel honored when this happens because I'm in sync with the cycles of the moon, and when I can connect to that, I feel creative, I feel powerful, and I also feel aware. And there's this year, I brought in some understanding around the first 2 weeks of our cycle versus the last 2 weeks of our cycle. And so the first 2 weeks would be our spring and summer, and then our last 2 weeks of our cycle would be our fall and winter. And so it's helped immensely to have some consideration around those first 2 seasons. That's when I, and I imagine you, Wahine, as well, take note this next cycle, and to see, like, I feel more outward, more exuberant, more extroverted, if you will. And so this is a really good time to plan meetings, to plan engagements, to be more outward and scheduled. How this works with our diets and our protocols too, though, very important to take notice this next cycle. The first 2 weeks, the spring and the summer, it's when we have lots of energy and it's easier to stay on our diets, our protocols, great time to do cleanses. It's when we have more quick recovery time, say with our workouts. So our body is just, the repair is happening more swiftly. So it's a great time for outward energy. And then the second 2 weeks of our cycle, it's also known as the luteal phase, but this includes our fall and our winter. This is definitely when our body is needing more. It's our progesterone is shifting, and so with that, we want to be supportive of all things yin, all things slow, all things quiet, more inward, more reflective time. And I get that this isn't always achievable with the outside world and what we're needing. However, when we can have a consideration and a concept around our inner seasons and how we approach our self-care, gosh, it's really helped me be a little more kind to myself. And I don't know about you, but I'm consistently seeking more ways to be kind and gentle with myself, to improve my self-care and stimulate more and more self-love, because we've got enough fighting against us, right? In this crazy, crazy world these days. pardon my projection. It's the end of the year. I'm feeling a little bit tired of 2020, and I'm feeling hopeful for some new beginnings in 2021. And as today is a full moon, I'm feeling just, just very aware, like tuned in, tapped in, turned on. I feel clear and for understanding that these second 2 weeks, my inner fall and inner winter, how we can make adjustments, especially around our diet and our exercise, our lifestyle, more sleep, giving space for more sleep. Also understanding that our cravings may increase in the inner fall and inner winter, and that's okay, like, within reason. But if we find certain vegetables or treats that work for us, like those second 2 weeks, it's when we can serve ourselves to be gentle, and understand that our bodies preparing. It's consistently cycling for our best care. So those second 2 weeks, cravings might be up, lethargy may be up, so we may need a little bit more oomph to get those gym shoes on. And maybe the gym shoes, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to go to the gym and do your full-on workout. Maybe you put the gym shoes on and you go for a walk, or you do something, something light, some yin yoga, restorative yoga, chair yoga. We just got done doing that at 10 earlier today. So really wanting to consider that the rest and recovery phase may be slower during those second 2 weeks of the cycle, the winter and the autumn and winter phases. And so when we have some consideration and respect to that, then we might take a bath instead of a shower. We may get to bed earlier. We may allow ourselves to sleep in a little bit. Sleep may become even more of a priority, and our workouts may change, as well as our diets. Understanding that we are ever changing, cyclical beings, and we deserve to have spaciousness to consider how our metabolic features, like how all of the substances of each cell is increasing and decreasing, and what we might be doing to support every cell of our body. So if you're just tuning in, please write a question. Let me know what's important to you today, because I feel drawn to talk and share around the cycles, our sacred cycles, and how we might be most supportive of what's going on during these seasons that we go through each month, especially if we're still menstruating, and then how that changes throughout our lives, and how we may, when we approach our cycles with this perspective, how we may gain more insight. And really, I feel so much more intimate with myself when I'm aware of where I'm at in my cycle and how I track my cycle. It's an app. There's quite a few out there. I'm going to say mine's Women's World, and it's epic to be able to note symptoms, track the days, and so I can understand the first 15 days of my cycle, and I can note, like, oh, and I feel really strong and outward, and like I said earlier, extroverted. It makes sense. And then on the second side of that, the fall and winter. And there may be nuances to each season of the cycle, each cycle too, depending on the variety of our stress levels, hydration, what we eat, how we sleep. So lots to consider. But I wanted to come together today and talk about that so that we can have some perspective and gentleness with ourselves as we move through our cycles. All right. So if you have any questions here, please let me know. I'd love to talk story around things that are important for you. Otherwise, if you're catching this later and you feel like sending me a question or a note, I'd be happy to hear from you. looking forward to the new year. I have 3 programs that I love to support women with, and what I've been doing a lot of this year is the 12-week whole life healing. It's slow and methodical, but it's long, and we make big change, especially around a low carb lifestyle. I'm sure many of you have heard that, going low carb, it's helpful for our insulin sensitivity. And, so many folks are pre-diabetic these days. And then that leads to like chronic inflammation and all sorts of maladies or diseases, if you will, throughout our bodies. So insulin response is super important. And I love to bring that consciousness and awareness to my clients. And so the 12-week whole life healing is to really make that big change and then see how it fits in life and see how we can make it sustainable, because lots of people, they try keto or they try low carb and then it gets tough and they just throw it out the window. And the truth is there are some valuable pieces to it that work really well, and how we can adjust based on different times, even like what I was talking about earlier. Adjust based on our own seasons of our cycles. This is important to consider. And then I also do intermittent fasting. So again, lots of clients come and I've tried intermittent fasting. It's too hard. I can't do it. And I've become quite the expert on these feeding windows and how to adjust them and how to create variety so that the body can adjust and then also stay to the top of its game. Variety is key, and I help my clients move through that to find an intermittent fasting lifestyle that works for them. And then another service I'm providing is a 3-day intervention, and it's basically a cleanse, a bone broth cleanse with me as your guide, and how to get a full digestive reset so we can start clear again. So maybe something that you're interested in, especially in the new year. And I love to share this as well. People get a chance to get to know me and how I approach cleansing these days. And by no means is it around like the 7 or 10-day juice fast. Good God, that's definitely a thing of yesteryear. And I've found ways to get improved benefits with shorter amount of time. And it's so much easier socially, on my mental and digestive capabilities as well. So I'd love to talk more with you about that. Go ahead and leave a note here. Let me know if you've liked anything today, if you'd like to hear about more. And I'm going to sign off here shortly so that I can prepare for the upcoming New Year's Eve. This has been quite a wonky year. I'm ready to put some things to rest. So as I mentioned, I'm in my inner winter, and it feels like a time for reflection. So I'm enjoying that this week, and I hope you are too. So feel free to reach out to me. I'd love to connect. Doing more here, getting off the social media, and that too has felt like a, ripping the Band-Aid off. But I'm feeling some spaciousness in my head and my heart, and I know that that's going to show up and shine for you and others that are interested in healing autoimmune issues, soothing their nervous system, folks that understand that food is medicine, and that we can utilize systems and technologies from our ancestors, the way that we've evolved as human species, and how that can be supportive for our best skin, our best brain, our best gut health, and how we may get rid of some of those nagging symptoms that just overtake so much. So thanks again. I appreciate you joining here today. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back here again next Tuesday for the Trust Your Gut Club, but we will be in 2021. So blessings to all of you. A hui ho. I love you so much. Thanks for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy New Year. Aloha.